It's October, the end of the year, everything is dying off, the leaves are falling, Christmas is coming, niggas is wildin' a little bit less. And what? Who gives a fuck? For those of you that don't know, we here started a mega challenge of Pokémon games, containing many of the vanilla games, after which we shall conquer an array of the popular RomHacks like the late Queen of England made us a knight and told us, Sonny, mount the white horse in front of the crib and ride him through many a cities until you conquer the realm and fertilize many a damsel around the world.
Shut when you think about it.
So far, we have beaten only the pussy level 1 shit, like Pokémon Ruby and Pokémon Fire Red, and, I have to be frank, the first one I barely beat, and the second one is not even worth mentioning. You shouldn't even watch it, really. I swear. As I said, in this video we're playing Pokémon Soul Silver in Nuzlocke mode. Here are the main Nuzlocke rules for all of you that don't know. Boom. Therefore, dear observers, take a seat and get ready for part 3 of our amazing adventure of becoming the king of the Nuzlocking world. Behold.
Feeling lucky?
So, Pokémon Soul Silver. A rich, vibrant, new region, with this guy being the professor. Is it me, or, in spite of him looking the most friendly out of all Pokémon professors, he is still the most unattractive one? Anyways, he grants us, Lucky Nuzlockes, a choice between 3 Johto starters, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile. I chose Cyndaquil because the other 2 suck, and march off on my journey. My first stop is the house of a certain Mr. Pokémon, where we found the evil Professor Oak. Like really, if there is a man whose smile looks smug. Anyway, Mr. Pokémon hands us open-handedly accept both gifts and rush back to Professor Elm's silly face. Midway through the routes of Johto, we get jumped by the red-headed John Bon Jovi and slap the shit out of him and his Totodile. I barge in Theo Professor's lab and immediately noticed the Popo questioning document. Right as I tried to flee the scene, the cop notices me and calls up for a testimony or something. I started heavily stuttering, thinking I still have weed on me, when Lyra barged in and saved my ass. She said that a red-haired boy stole the Totodile from document. My nervousness led me to spitting out that I saw him, which suddenly made all eyes on me.
All eyes on
Yeah. I named the thief others despite not knowing his name. After the fiasco, I can finally start my adventure. I caught myself a Centret, a Weedle, a Bird, and a mighty Zubat, and an Ekans. After that I met Chuck's adopted stepbrother in a Pokemon Center, tell him about my uncle, and get myself a Slugmutt egg. After that I go to the Burn Tower and catch myself a Rattata, then me and Bon Jovi slap around an elderly man, one by one. This leads us to a fight with the first gym leader, Faulkner, the master of flying types. I beat his Pidgey with 2 quick attacks from my own, then use 1 more quick attack on the Pidgeotto. After that, I switch to Ekans for an Intimidate, a Glare, and a Bite. Then I throw Centret out so he can continue to be useless, which he does. Zubat and Cyndaquil chip the beast enough for the Beedrill to finish, and we all can move on, me with a badge, and Faulkner with his ego shattered like a fireproof bolt thrown from the top of the Eiffel Tower while 7 Nation Army is playing on all the city speakers. In the Pokemon Mart we get back the egg we gave Professor Elm, after which a foxy Chinese lady offered us a good time in the middle of the street, spun around her axis and bounced. Then we catch ourselves a Geodude in the ruins of Ulf and then spend half an hour smashing rocks in order to get a bunch of shards. Why, you ask? Because this guy trades us a bunch of berries for various types of shards. Why does a mediocre city performer need that many shards? Where did he get berries? I decide it's better not to ask and move on. In the next cave, I catch myself an onyx, a Spearow on the rainy route, and an oddish in the depths of the ilex forest. Then I raid an old man's house, where he, Kurt, shouts some indistinguishable at my face and the bounces onto the night. His granddaughter begs me to go and find him. I find him sitting at the bottom of a well, enraged and evidently unable to march forward. He makes me his soldier, and I absolutely barge in and start throwing hands on a Team Rocket admin. I manage to defeat him, and the old man rewards me with his eternal gratitude, like I can cash it in my local bank. Next gym leader is Bugsy, the Bug-type master. I start my Eakins in order to intimidate plus glare his ace, Scyther. I use a couple of screeches, then switch to Onyx and just annihilate his whole team with Rock Throw. 2 badges. My rival jumps before the gate, so I use Tagetic to erase him from the game. After that I line up 2 misbehaving Farfetch'd and get myself a cut HM as a reward. Then I meet the Asian Hooters bitch again and show her the way out of the forest, pretending I don't want to see what's behind the bush. Next route I get myself a Drowsy, then walk into Goldenrod like I own the place. I get a coin case in the casino, and some Protect TMs in the department store. I beat a stupid quiz at the radio tower, which somehow makes the gym leader jump up and remember she has shit to do. This part 1 don't even want to talk about, but you can check it out. Like, what is that crit damage? That must be the highest of high roll crits that killed it. Anyway, I managed to catch a Vulpix on the next route and then this machine in the national park. The spoiled brat's name is Whitney, and she wields normal types. Her Clefairy's main weapon is Metronome. Of course, she manages to hit a dark void on me and stop me from absolutely deleting the Clefairy with rock smashes. Her next Pokemon is Miltank, which often can present problems. I switch to Eakins for an Intimidate, and then throw a Yawn from Tagetic on it. The cow attracted me, so I switched to Onyx for some Rock Tombs. Miltank is faster than most of my Pokemon, so it helped. I used a couple of screeches and traded blows with the monster. He out-healed me, so I went to Geodude, but my rock somehow suddenly wanted to smash the cow, so I failed 10 magnitudes in a row before I send the thing to the Shadow Realm. After a little temper tantrum, I get my badge and continue. Then I get a squirt bottle from a feminist's doll closet and go squirt it on a tree that blocked the road to a critique city. I was absolutely astonished by the stupidity of this requirement, but I continued squirting on. From the bottle, of course. The tree rewards me with attempted murder, but I slap its skinny ass. A weird person staring at this fiasco rewarded me with some gardening tools. The next catching simulator gets me a Stantler before a critique, then I pull out my Moby Dick puller version 1.2. And catch me a Magikarp in a critique city, a Macop in some cave, a Meowth on the next route, and a Coughing in the burned tower. My rival also jumps me there, but a fight against him is easy. I go down to the basement floor and get jumped by 3 very large dogs. Although they didn't seem insidious, I shat my pants a bit and completely froze. Then the cloaked guy came down and started simping for one of the dogs, then read me a poem about it. As for Morty, the king of delusion, I simply sweep his team with bites from my Crobat. My journey then takes me to a crossroad, where I meet a jolly old man claiming he will open a safari zone soon. I pretended to listen and kept on my way. Next route grants me a Magnemite, and Olivine City grants me a run-in to rival others. I told him something about his mother to get rid of him. On the beach I pull out the Moby Dick puller again and catch a Krabby. Olivine Port grants me a Tentacool, after which I climb to the top of the lighthouse just to find a sick Ampharos getting his neck scratched by the gym leader. She then sends me on a mission of obtaining medicine for the injured animal. On the way I catch myself a Chincho and then encounter the dog and his number 1 fan again. This time the circus master challenges me for a fight. I beat him pretty easily and get a secret potion from the local pharmacy. I fish up a stereo then and go challenge the gym leader. His name is Chuck, the fighting type master. I surfed the lead primate twice, and then confused the Poliwrath. I switched to Gyarados then and Dragon Rage his ugly ass back into its father's cock. 5 badges. Immediately after I run back to Olivine to save the overgrown sheep. The gym leader jumps up from the excitement, invites me to her gym, and then grabs my cock on the way back. The gym leader, Jasmine, is the master of steel types. I just win, get her Instagram, and keep on trucking. In the meantime, the old guy called me to visit his newly opened safari zone, which I decided to do in lack of more interesting endeavors. On the way I caught a Misdreavus, Shelder, and a Hoppip. The safari zone grants me a mighty Bellsprout. I continue the catching simulator with a Corsola in Cherry Grove City, a Slowpoke in Slowpoke's Well, which will serve me later, and also get myself a nice family picture in the lobby of Slowpoke's Well. Next batch is Mareep before Mahogany Town, Noctowl before Lake of Rage, and Venonat before in the headbutt trees of Lake of Rage. Then I saw a giant red Gyarados, got scared and ran, which somehow got me the red scale and a face-to-face interview with this guy named Lance. The interview soon turns into a plot to save the world, the worst possible one. I didn't feel like being a hero, but it was better than doing nothing, so I went. As if the universe wanted me amused, I barge into Lance Hyper beaming a person in the face. The poor fucker gets plastered to the wall, and his calling starts randomly singing "Hey there Delilah, what's it like in New York City?" That made my day a lot better, so I followed Lance immediately. I catch myself a Voltorb and proceed in raiding the place in a counter-operative, efficient, and extremely attractive way. A minor setback happened when my rival's mother and a grunt challenged me and Lance to a fight. 2 Psybeams from Hypno kill the Arbok, but my dear Elephant Mime gets pursuit blocked against the Murkrow and then, sadly, dies. Me and the cloaked guy then kill the Electrodes for the sake of saving the world, and then he gives me a pep talk about how I should not be depressed for them because they were, unlike us, serving an evil purpose and, therefore, deserve to be killed. Anyway, the next gym leader is an old guy standing on ice holding a crutch in his hands. He starts with a Dugong, I start with Magneton. Couple of charge beams delete his Dugong, while Gyarados uses 2 Surfs on the Piloswine to kill it. Magneton finishes the second Dugong and we are free to go on. One of my final missions is dismantling Team Rocket completely, so I pop an Adderall pill and fly to Goldenrod. I get a knockoff Rocket uniform in the underground and almost hoed in my way into the radio tower, but my rival blows my cover the last second. I managed to pop a whole bunch of grunts as well as the admin, Petrol, who masked as the radio director in the top room. He gives me a basement key, but my mission once again gets aborted by my rival. I slap him around easily and soon end up on the radio tower's penthouse floor, where I meet an executive named Archer who challenges me to a battle. I slap him around easily. He then tries to throw me through the glass wall, but realizes midway that the Popo is coming and makes his getaway. The director then walks in and gives me some form of a feather that apparently holds the secret of the Johto region. The next batch of monsters I plan on abusing for battle is Tangela after Mahogany and Swinub in the ice cave. Then I run into the sexy Chinese chick once again and offer my assistance in pushing her from the back. I was happy she didn't mention me ignoring her Instagram DM. I catch a Teddiursa and an Aipom to celebrate and then run off to face Claire, the Dragon-type master. I nuke the lead Gyarados with a Thunderbolt from Starmie and manage to kill the following Dragonair with 2 Ice Beams after a Hyper Potion. The second Dragonair lives the Ice Beam in red, so I finish the job with a Cross Poison from Crobat. Then comes the ace, Kingdra. I switch to Gyarados to drop a Dragon Rage, then to High Special Defense to Jetic to drop a Yawn. I manage to heal Gyarados with Wish, luck out on dodging crits, and finish the beast with a couple of Dragon Rages. Then I visit this weird dojo in a mountain spring where Claire's grandfather confronts me with a morality quiz. I lie and pretend my way to completing it, which makes Claire appear and eat her words. Then I hop on the back of my bird and go to my hometown and into Elm's lab. He then reveals a shocking truth to me. The Chinese hottie who gave me her Instagram is actually 5 Chinese hotties.
Merry Christmas!
And they all look the same. Besides that, they invited me to their dojo in a critique city to practice some techniques. I barge in ready to go and find them waving their assess slowly on the stage. Trying to hide extreme arousal, I walked up slowly. Then I find out that this was going to be a different kind of session, more so of them ganging up on me in an attempt to send me and my Pokemon home, or me back to washing my mother's dishes and being happy about it. Basically, it was an attempt to emasculate me.
Okay.
I beat the first one's Umbreon with Gyarados. The second one throws an Espeon at me. I try to beat it with Togetic, but Psychic hit me too hard. I switch to Starmie and manage to 1v1 it easily. The Flareon gets nuked by Aqua Tail, Jolteon by Mamoswine, and Victreebel does the last Bimbo's Vaporeon in. The whores then called me to Whirl Islands, where I had the opportunity to see Niagara Falls inverted. It looked pretty nice. Anyhow, I caught the bitches wiggling their assess in front of the legendary bird, Lugia, and realized the only way to end this blasphemy is by catching the poor traumatized beast. The harlots then somehow freeze in time and space, so I simply move on with my life. That means that I only had one challenge left before me in the Johto region, the Victory Road. My last two encounters were Quagsire and Rhyhorn. I also slapped the shit out of my rival on the exit to Victory Road. The fight itself was pretty easy, so it's safe to skip it for a while. I healed my Pokemon in the Pokemon League HQ and engaged into heavy planning for the Elite Four challenge. After a while, I came up with a team of 6 efficient, trained, explosive assassins. Number 1 is Starmie, with Surf, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Recover. Second one is Gyarados, with Ice Farm, Hyper Beam, Waterfall, Protect. Then comes the Bull, Rhydon, with Hammer Arm, Stone Edge, Rock Blast, Take Down. Fourth Pokemon is Magneton, with Thunderbolt, Mirror Shot, Thunder Wave, and Charge Beam. Then is Typhlosion with Flame Wheel, Flamethrower, Protect, and Blast Burn. The last one on the roster is Quagsire, with Waterfall, Rain Dance, Earthquake, and Yawn. The first Elite Four member is Will, the Psychic-type user. I started Starmie to chain kills on Will's 2 Xatu, since the second one has Ominous Wind that is super effective against Psychic types. The Executor dies to 2 Flamethrowers. Starmie does Slowbro in with 2 Thunderbolts. I try to get rid of Jinx with Starmie, but she puts me to sleep, so I swap to Magneton to finish the job. Second comes Koga, the Poison-type master. Typhlosion nukes Ariados and Forretress, Magneton beats Mook, Crobat, and Venomoth. The next Elite Four member is Bruno, the master of Roid Rage types. He starts with a Hitmontop that I try to beat with Gyarados. He switches to Onix on my Thunderbolt. I go to Magneton on a potential rock move, then to Gyarados on a ground move, then to Quagsire on a rock slide. A waterfall from Quag kills the snake, then comes Hitmontop again. I switch to Gyarados and slowly take it down with Thunderbolts, since Waterfall would make him use counter and embarrass me in front of my bitch. And go for Yawn. Then I rest to get health back and kill Roberto Duran with 2 Earthquakes and dodging a freeze from Ice Punch. I throw Starmie at Hitmonlee and notice that I don't have Psychic. Surfing him gets me confused, so I go to my Fire type. Surprisingly, the asshole clicked High Jump Kick, so I almost lose my Typhlosion. I switch back to Starmie to finish him. Starmie also manages to 1v1 the Trembolone King and we win the fight. Last Elite Four member is Karen, the Dark-type master. Magneton finishes Umbreon, which baits out Houndoom. Gyarados beats it with Waterfall, Rhydon does Murkrow, Typhlosion does Vileplume. Then Gyarados finishes Gengar and we win the fight. I march into the final room just to find Lance smirking and playing with his balls through the pocket of his pants. His vampiric outlook didn't make me miss a beat. I jumped straight to him and tried to land a power slap, but he stopped my hand with a blade-like movement and then landed a hard knee straight to my ballsack. I'm not gonna lie, I folded like a bitch immediately. When I stood up, shaking, he already threw his Charizard at me. My Gyarados came out of the Pokeball by himself and waterfalled the dragon. It lived in red, which made Lance switch to his Dragonite. I killed it with an avalanche from Rhydon. The second one dies to 2 ice beams from Starmie. Then Magneton beat Aerodactyl with a Thunderbolt and did the same to Charizard. Since Magneton was my Outrage counter, I now had to switch to Typhlosion and sack it to Outrage to get position and finish the fight. I threw Starmie at it and used Ice Beam, but the monstrosity somehow lived on 1 and sent my Starmie to the Shadow Realm. In the end, an Ice Fong from Gyarados finishes Lance and we become the champions of Johto League. But we all know one thing, that's not it. 3, 2, 1, Phase 2, go! We all know that we also have to beat the Kanto region. The day after, Professor Elm congratulates us on beating everyone in the region, then grants us an SS ticket. After boarding the ferry, I tried to locate the restaurant and have some nice fish dishes, but the harmony was disrupted by an old man begging me to find his granddaughter. The kid apparently escaped while he was sleeping. I find the little girl standing by the captain, boring the shit out of him. The old guy was pretending he doesn't hear her. When I came close though, she ran out, so I had to go and find her. She was hiding in the hallway behind a wall, so I take her back to her deadbeat grandfather. He awards me with a metal coat. Then, the moment I stepped out for the dinner, the ship arrived at the port. Time to challenge the Kanto gym leaders, I guess. First of them is Lieutenant Surge that gets absolutely deleted by earthquakes from Mamoswine. Next one is Sabrina. Mismagius kills the Espion, Persian and Slowbro nuke the Mr. Mime, after which the big bad Alakazam comes in. I send Magneton in to paralyze it and then throw a Thunderbolt, but his berry heals him, and I get afraid I'll miss the kill, so I switch to Slowbro. Slowbro baits Energy Ball, so I throw my Gyarados hoping to kill with Waterfall and forgetting about Reflect. Gyarados barely lives a Psychic. Knowing that she'll use a full restore and that on the following turn he won't be paralyzed and therefore will be faster, I save a turn by switching to Magneton immediately. Magneton manages to finish, and we can move on. Then I go to the power plant to trigger the meager lore part in Kanto, which enables me to challenge Misty, but only after I chase down a traumatized and paranoid Team Rocket grunt that stole the generator part. I go back for the part, then back again to power plant, give it to the fat guy, then barge in on Misty grabbing a younger man's cock on the Cerulean Pier. She attacks me for cock blocking her, and justifiably so. Anyhow, now that her pussy is dry, I am free to challenge her, which I immediately do. I kill the lead Golduck with Starmie, Quagsire with Victory Bell, Lantern barely does Lappers, and then Slowbro with Lumberry manages to 1v1 the Starmie. Then I go back to Vermilion to play Stairway to Heaven to the Obese Abomination, which will prove very useful for the last fight of the game. The next gym leader to face is Brock the Rock-type Master, and I absolutely take him to school and make him wish his eyes looked different. I also get jumped by my rival in Moon, but I slap him around easily. Next one on the chopping block is Erica, but here I am going to make both your and my life easier by skipping to the only 2 remaining fights left in the game, the Viridian City Gym Leader, Blue, and the final boss, Red. As for Blue, he leads with an Executor that has Trick Room, which I really want to avoid. Still, I managed to miss the kill with Ninetales, so he sets the goddamn thing up. Next turn I hit the range, then Rhydon comes, now faster than my whole team. He uses Earthquake, so I intimidate him with Gyarados for free and go to Quagsire on the Stone Edge. I do it again to stall Trick Room, then finish him with Gyarados. That baits my camp with Thunder Punch. I switch back to Quagsire. I repeat the process for a couple of Intimidates, then finish him with Slowbro. Slowbro finishes the Arcanine also, but Pidgeot whirlwinds him. I try to 1v1 with Ninetales, but he uses full restore, so I just send out the Magneton to finish it and the Gyarados. Now that we have beat every trainer on the map but one, all we have left to do is face what we were avoiding facing this whole time. Maybe this entire journey was just time reversing itself in order for us to realize that Pokemon Trainer Red was the embodiment, the living representation of our greatest fears triumphing over our meager hopes and desires, meager because they were unable to outweigh the terrifying, shivering monster of our deepest doubts and insecurities. Maybe, just maybe, we were all